welcome back to part 2 of another episode of Dirt, Grit, and Stupid Shit, the adventures in real estate. And so I wanted Darren James to come back on here and talk about some more crazy shit with us and kind of what's happening. You know, it's the holidays, right?
Yep.
It's the holidays. Do you see a lot of sales happening during the holiday time right now, or do you... We talked about consistency earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you make it through the holidays as an agent? Tell me that.
You know, historically, I track the numbers, and I'm a big numbers person. Analytics
Right.
are everything. You have to know where your business is coming from at all times. So normally, November has been a fantastic month for us historically. December is a great month as well. A lot of people want to start a new year in a new location. So you see people, 30-day escrow period. A lot of times, cash can be a little bit faster than that, conventional, a little bit faster than that, depending on financing. But, you know, a lot of offers come in November, December, or people write offers so they can start their new year in a new location. It's a new beginning for a lot of people. So, yeah, fantastic during the holidays. Always has been.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm licensed in Mississippi, and I'm seeing a lot of people actually move from here or either get a second home over on the beach. A lot of people right now looking for hunting land because it's so cheap in Mississippi.
That's right.
I mean, you can get like 70 acres for like $250,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah, several years ago, I had a guy, my office manager was licensed. He was a broker, licensed in Mississippi as well. So, yeah, that's what we were doing. A lot of people were relocating to buy hunting land and, you know, do different things over there in Mississippi. Bay St. Louis is a fantastic area. People are buying on the bay now a lot, and Gulfport and Biloxi and all that area too.
In Long Beach. I love Long Beach. And it's Long Beach, Mississippi. Boy, when I advertise on social media, I get so many people going, there's a Long Beach, Mississippi. Yeah, it's not California.
That's right.
It's Mississippi. And I love that little town. You know, they have cruising on the coast. All the old cars are there. And it's really expanded. And I think the not bed and breakfast, the Airbnb is really expanding. Do you have have you ever invested, bought rental houses?
I have, yeah.
How'd that go?
One of the biggest mistakes of my career was selling them. So I can tell you that. Yeah, I wish I'd have held on to them. You know, my uncle does a lot of that. And so my dad actually has been licensed since 1978 in real estate. Wow. Never sold anything until he came on to work with me as my buyer's agent in 2006. My first buyer's agent was my dad. And so he came on, but he did a lot of, my uncle owned tons of property. I think it was 1,700 doors is what he owned in the greater Baton Rouge area. So it was a lot of properties. And so he's getting out of the game. He's 80 years old now. And my uncle's selling off and liquidating a lot of his properties and stuff, just getting out of the rental business and so forth. But yeah, it's been a challenge for sure. It's a great reward there. You know, you can always, I ask a guy who owns a lot of property in Livingston Parish, Mr. Gary Lewis. You may know who that is. Right. So I asked him, I said, Mr. Gary, why don't do you do any flips or do you do a lot of rentals and so forth? And he's like, that cash cow never stops giving milk, quote unquote. And so it's a great way to basically get residual income coming in and to build wealth, generational wealth as well. Yeah.
Well, I think people should always look into, and you don't always win on those flips either.
Don't. No, absolutely.
It is a challenge, but, I've helped so many investors. I had a couple of years ago, an investor bought 40 homes total from me, and then they kept them for a year, and then they're like, we don't want this shit no more.
Yeah.
And then I sold them all last year, but now they're into buying commercial stuff.
Sure.
Seems like maybe it's not, multifamily a little bit, but it's more like storage units.
Yep. I get it. I understand.
They're liking storage units. I don't know why, but I guess you make more money that way, huh?
It's a lot less maintenance. Think of it that way. You don't have a lot of things to break there. I don't know how many.
I had no phone calling in the middle of the night. My toilet broke.
That's
that
right.
kind of shit.
Absolutely. Yep.
So you said earlier you was hoping Jace wouldn't get into the
not necessarily
business,
not necessarily. Wouldn't hope he wouldn't get into it. I'm glad he's getting into it, but I think he has a lot to learn. Like all of us, anybody getting into starting something new, there's a lot of trials and tribulations that go along with it. And so the number one way that people are successful in real estate or any career for that matter is discipline. You have to have that discipline to work late, to get up before other people, just the discipline to do the job. I tell my agents now that work with me, the death of a salesperson is white space on the calendar. And if you got white space on your calendar, you're not doing anything. You're not making any progress. And so that's definitely a challenge.
Right. That's right. I had I think it was three episodes ago, Ashton Kuntz was on here, and he's 17.
Yeah.
Joni is my transaction coordinator at my office, and she runs a real estate academy at Walker High. Okay. Which is here in Livingston Parish where we're at. And so these I call them children, they're still kids. These kids are taking, if they want to get into real estate, and she helps and brings in different speakers. It's really, really good, whether you want to be an appraiser or you want to be a real estate agent or go into the title company. So Ashton, 17, was on here. You had to go back and look him up. He's already got a book, The Brilliant Boss, on Amazon. Wow. We talk about, discipline. He's got over 3 million followers on his TikTok. You can learn a lot from kids.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Right? They're definitely ahead of the tech curve. Mm-hmm. They know the social media. They know all the ins and outs of it. They know the shortcuts of it, especially. And so, they definitely have a big advantage over, when we got in 20 years ago, there was no social media, right?
No. Do you remember, did you get in with the MLS books, like a telephone book?
2 weeks out. So I did it one time, and then they went to internet on a single computer, where you got to download this disc on that computer, and you can always search the MLS from that one computer. Yeah. And then they transferred over to, I think it was the internet type deal, where Solid Earth was our first MLS provider, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was always fun. In the MLS book, you would look, come out every 2 weeks, I think it was, and you go look through there, and then you see in black and white, here's the house, here's everything. But by the time you got to the damn house, what was it?
It was under contract.
Under contract.
That's right. It's under contract. It reminds me of, you go through the catalogs. Back in the day, we were kids. You go through the catalog, you circle what you want, Sears catalog or whatever. Here's the toys I want for Christmas. You circle. Right. Well, same thing here with the MLS book. You search on, I'm going to go show this house, pending. 2 weeks shelf life. So it's crazy.
It was crazy. It was crazy. So what do you think nowadays really sells a house? What do you think?
I think, it has to be prepped properly. Staging is everything when it comes to that. Proper presentation is everything. It's kind of like a picture's worth 1,000 words. If the house looks great, it's gonna show great, right? And so a home only sells for 4 reasons: location, price, condition, and the person you have marketing it. And so if it's in a great location, you always hear that in real estate: location, right? I always hear that. So you got to have it in a good location. Then you have to be priced right. It has to be in a great condition, so properly staged, et cetera. And then it has to be, you have to market the property, and that's the key in the process. Yeah,
there was a 2-letter word that I learned from you years ago.
Mm-hmm. What is that?
You either on the market
or in the market. That's exactly right.
2-letter word. A lot of people don't realize that when you get a purchase agreement in on your property, a seller don't even realize the 2-letter word. Closing costs up to, or of.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And it's going to be, if they're asking for $5,000, they're going to get the $5,000. But if it's up to, it could be less than $5,000.
That's right. Up to and not to exceed. Right.
Right. That's right.
That's how we write it. Up to and not to exceed that amount. It's
nuts. It's not. And so a lot of people want to go out and do fsbo. Yeah. But they don't realize 2-letter words can turn their contract upside down.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And most of the time, they're leaving money on the table.
A lot of times, yeah, absolutely.
And then just tell me if I'm wrong here, but if I put my house up for sale, then the neighbor next door puts their house up for sale, fsbo, and they're using the same price that that I'm using, right? We're compatible. Isn't my commission bringing that price up anyway? Mm-hmm. Yep. Then why the hell would you leave an agent out?
That's right. Absolutely, I agree. I agree 100%.
I don't get that.
I agree 100%.
I try to explain that.
Analogy. Yeah.
And it's tough.
It's amazing how many times I see it happen. When I first got into real estate, I'll tell you a story again. Mm-hmm. When I first got into real estate, some friends of ours, I was like 2 weeks in, so I didn't know anything, right? I didn't know anything. Yeah. Just passed the test and hadn't had my first listing yet. Didn't know anything about selling houses, really. So my neighbor, like 4 houses down, put their house on the market by owner. I did know that the value of our property at the time, 20-some years ago, was $115,000 or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. They ended up selling their house for $90,000. They left $25,000 on the table doing it by owner. Think about if they'd have paid the commission, and they would have made so much more money, right? Because our commission is not anywhere near that amount of money difference.
Not on no 115th
No.
or 90,000.
Yeah, right.
No.
It's crazy.
No.
It's crazy.
And I feel like we're the only ones in this industry. And I mean, I don't know even how to explain this because this rubs my ass wrong. But I have never gone to, to the sneaker store at the mall.
Right.
I want those pair of sneakers, but I only want to pay $55
Right.
instead of $100.
Right.
But they do that to us.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to pay this commission. I need you to lower it.
Right. That's right.
Well, why is that?
Well, I mean, I think that the only time there's an absence in price or an adjustment of commission is when there's absence in value. And so,
right.
And that's the key, is that you have to display that value to the consumer, what you're going to do different to maximize their return on their investment. See, when we list a house, our job is to sell that home for as much money as we can, sell it as fast as we can, that the seller as much as they can in their pocket, and get them transitioned to wherever they want to go with little or no inconvenience as possible. And so if we can display that information to them and show them the value that we bring, normally there's never an addition, there's never a objection regarding commission if you have that value in place.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to do that yesterday to get that purchase agreement accepted on one of my listings I just put on the market Friday. I'm thankful that it's 3 days on the market and under contract. And for some reason that contract said that that buyer was 7.5% interest. Like, whoo.
Goodness gracious.
Whoo.
Wow.
Yeah, but like I said, it's a win-win.
That's right.
The sellers come down on their price. They are helping with closing costs. All the buyers got to do is hang in there.
That's right.
Next year, refi. And they got another W in their pocket. They're 3-0.
That's right.
Win-win-win. Right?
Win-win.
I love it. I love it. So, so the other thing is, so you got a great assistant also.
I do.
All right.
I do. Her name is Angela Womack.
I know, but don't tell nobody.
That's right.
You really do.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's pretty good. We like her.
She's been with me 7 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow. And that's good.
That's crazy, huh?
And it is nuts.
How time flies.
It is. Time does fly.
Yep.
So we were talking outside before we came in here, and you were talking about an expansion team. What's that all about? You want to tell us?
Yeah, sure. I'm actually building an expansion team into Houston, going into that area, and we have some over in Arizona now. We actually cover Arizona, California. We have some in Georgia, and of course Louisiana is our main home base, and then also going into Texas. That means basically we're expanding into that area, building out different lead generation platforms for that area and referring business over to the individuals and the individual agents over there. So,
and see, people don't realize that because you and I we're licensed here.
Yep.
But we can help, like you're talking about, in expansions, and make sure if you're going to trust us here in Louisiana to run you through that contract and sell that house, and you want to move to New York, or Florida, anywhere, you can come back to us because we have a network.
We have a nationwide network. That's right. Absolutely.
Both of us do.
That's right. Yeah. Both of us. Right.
We have. So if you like working with us, I can promise you we're going to put you with somebody just like us.
Absolutely. And perfect. Talking about stories, right? Storytelling. I had an agent that actually worked with me on our team. He ended up getting out of real estate and taking a position in with a moving company, right?
Oh, okay.
To be the logistics, because that's what he did when he was in the military. He did logistics. Got hired on with a moving company, basically to handle the logistics of coordinating these moving trucks and going all over the different world, right? So I sold his house in Ascension Parish, which again, that's the neighboring parish of Livingston. Sold his house in Ascension. They rented for a short time. They called me back to help them. They're looking to his company, the moving company, they're relocating him to Austin, Texas. Okay. So he called me back and said, Darren, do you know a realtor over in Austin, Texas? I said, absolutely. I referred him to a realtor in Austin, Texas, and they texted me back and said, she is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for the referral. She's doing a fantastic job. And she stays in contact with me every week regarding the status of their transaction. So not only was he an agent that worked with me on our team, he basically transferred out of the career of real estate to go into logistics, which was what his MOS was with the military. Right. Gotten back into that career, transferred over to Austin. So I was able to sell his house here, great experience, transfer him to Austin to a realtor over there, and that's a great experience as well.
And that's what it's all about.
That's right. Absolutely.
I think that talking about this, I think the scariest thing for anyone is to move to a place you're not familiar with.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And you got to get you got to start over with your doctors.
Everything.
And I think the biggest thing that anyone ever could do is to buy a house. It's the biggest investment you do.
Oh, absolutely.
So you never want to get involved in something where it can go wrong, that's for sure. And you want to be comfortable. So if you were comfortable with us, then you would be comfortable with who we refer you to.
That's right.
And also, at the same time, I'm very transparent about it. At the same time, because I've got a big network myself, I also receive a referral fee back.
Yeah, that's right.
Of course. And so I'm always going to make sure it's going smooth in whatever state, because I had that happen when someone had to move to Florida. They were like, Sondra, we're so excited to get out of Louisiana, but we're scared at the same time.
Yeah, it is.
Well, there's no reason to be scared.
Yeah.
If you trusted me, you've got to trust me that I can help you over here on this end.
Yeah.
And I do that now with Mississippi. I'll drive to Mississippi. I mean, where I list and work at, it's about 2.5 hours away.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll go over there and talk and sit and do what I got to do. But, people just got to trust you. They trust you in the beginning. Why wouldn't they trust you in the end?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The hardest part about relocating out of state, I would think, would be just building friends again, and meeting people. It's really hard. That's a challenge because, your friends, that you start to miss them, get homesick, right?
Right.
And so, I can go to Sondra's house and eat great crawfish or shrimp or fried food because she's always cooking something great on that grill. I see it.
I see it.
Never invited, but I see it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, exactly. But I see it.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, she's a fantastic cook, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You really are fantastic. Yeah.
That's my stress relief.
Really?
Yeah, people don't realize that. They're like, well, Sondra, you cook a lot. Well, I cook big. It's just Angel and I. Yeah. And I cook big because my parents are in their 80s now. And, time is of the essence on everything. Yeah. So I take care of them. I travel to Baton Rouge 3 times a week. I'm Meals on Wheels.
Oh, yeah.
For them. That's what I've called myself now. I've already labeled my ice chest Meals on Wheels. So I cook usually on a Sunday night, and then I'll cook big. So it lasts in for a couple of days. Then I cook again. And so I don't know how to cook small.
Do your parents, do you have any recipes that your parents gave you over time that you love cooking?
Yeah, actually, I have a recipe book that my mom hand wrote in 1983 when I graduated high school. Every family recipe is in there. Every one of them, including the grandma that I never knew or met because she died before I was adopted. Because a lot of people on this show know that I'm adopted. Yeah. So I have all those recipes. But, Mama always made a great eggplant casserole. Eggplant dressing. And I love doing that because I like eggplant. Not everybody likes that, but she always did really, really well at that. And then she did what they call a redfish couvillon.
What is that?
Redfish couvillon is redfish that you take in a tomato paste type and you serve it on rice, but it's really the fillet is what I call it of the redfish.
Oh, wow.
And she knows how to cook it and put it, it's almost like a roux, but not quite as thick. Man, make you slap your mama.
Tell you
no
a dream.
Attention.
Tell you a dream that I would love to do. My wife actually came up with this, but we'll tell it on live air, right?
Okay.
How cool would this be? Just envision this.
Okay.
A reality TV show called Perfectly Plated, right? Everybody across the United States, just like I just asked you the question, do you have a famous or a dish that your family member, right? Mm-hmm. So you go into people's houses and you watch them cook. Cooking shows their family's favorite meals, right? And they teach you, and then you put together a cookbook called Perfectly Plated, right? I mean, it might be $1 million idea show or whatever.
Oh, shit. We just shared Jennifer's idea. We're in deep shit now.
I mean, I think that would be a fantastic reality TV show. You go into Sondra's house, and she's cooking the redfish couvillon. Oh, goodness. Or you go into Darren's house, and you cook my mom's famous fried shrimp. Or you go into whoever's house, and they do their recipe, and you go across the United States, and you learn different things and different cultures, and they tell you the story about the grandma and how she used to cook it. And I just think it would make for a great reality TV show called Perfectly Plated.
That's perfect. Yeah, I like that idea. I really like to call Jennifer when we get through with this, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
But look, speaking of food, one of my sponsors is Casa Maria.
Love it.
On Highway 16 down here in Watson. And I tell you what, what's on Tuesday.
Yep.
It's Taco Tuesday. $2 Taco Tuesday. Can you believe it's still $2?
$2. That's crazy.
In this inflation time. Fahim still keeps it at $2, and he still keeps the pictures at $18.
That's amazing.
$18 for a picture of margarita.
That's fantastic.
Any flavor you want. And then on Wednesday, it's half price margarita.
Wow.
Any flavor. I mean, $9. Come on.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I love it. I love the place. They got a little outdoor patio.
Yeah.
They've got, he'll put anything you want on there.
And he does a lot for the community too.
Huge
for the community.
Huge give back. He's a great leader, but yeah. So, the Casa Maria down there in Watson, y'all make sure you get down there and get you some. By the way, get you some fish tacos too. That's pretty damn good. Just thought I'd plug that one for him. But anyway. But yeah, so cooking I love to do, but I do it for stress release. Yeah. You know, when it seems like there's a lot going on and when you want to get away. Yep. My mind needs to get away. Then I cook.
So you know what I remember most about your cooking stuff was your Facebook Live videos, and you had these mats. I think they were called copper mat or whatever.
Oh yeah, the copper mats. Yeah. That's right.
So you still use those or what?
No, because things have changed.
Okay.
Right. So I had a Traeger.
Yeah.
Sold that because I just can't get used to plugging in a barbecue pit.
Okay.
And then feeding it with pellets while the auger takes the pellets out. But I studied something. Mm-hmm. And the pellets are not good for you. Really? They're kind of cancerous.
Oh my goodness.
So it says it on the bag too. So I'm not lying. Just go look at the bag. So I just got rid of it and I said, I got something called an acorn.
What is that?
Acorn.
Is that like an egg? That's what it's called.
Yeah, it's just a smaller one. I started smoking in that. That's really good. You can smoke stuff. But I love my griddle. Yeah. My griddle is.
So what do you got? You got one of the like a Blackstone?
Blackstone, yeah. And I love, everybody teases me, feel like I'm at Waffle House or something. Yeah. Flip it and cover smother, whatever, Yeah, sounds good. But that's what I do my steaks on. That's what I do. I actually do. You can fry fish on a griddle. What? Yeah. How just ask the Cajun Ninja. I tagged him and it went viral, went crazy on that. You just put it in an aluminum pan. I know it don't sound safe and it might not be at one time. You might blow up, but I do it. Yeah. And it works. Wow. And the fish are nice and everything's fresh. I like it because the grease don't burn. Yeah, makes sense. It's the way it would in a cast iron pot.
Yeah, makes sense.
Or aluminum pan. A little aluminum pan burns real quick. Yeah. With those easy baskets, like at McDonald's or something. But anyway, I'm getting kind of hungry.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to your house. Maybe I'll get invited this time.
Oh, jeez. Well, let's go have some shrimp.
I love it.
Shrimp and some fish. But, so during the holidays, we were talking about if it's a good time to sell. I think it's a great time to sell. Yep. I really do. I agree. I like doing that because, I am the busiest during the November, December, and January. And it's probably because I feel like I'm the only one working.
Yeah. A lot of times, exactly right. You hit the nail on the head on that one because a lot of people don't believe that, that business is being done during the holiday season. Right. And so if you just change your mindset and go after the business that the other people are letting just sit on the table, you got it, and that's the same thing I did, during the crash of 2008. We talked about the crash in the previous episode, right? Same thing happened. Sometimes you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so that's the key. And so, in any downturn or any type of change of the market or whatever, you have to have hope. Yep. And hope stands for have only positive expectations. And so you got to continue that mindset.
Wait, say that again?
Have only positive expectations. Hope.
I like that.
And that's what it is. You got to have positive expectations to be able to get to your next step in life because, it's not all doom and gloom out there. People are still going to buy houses. Right. People still need shelter, food, and water to survive. And people move for basically, what do we know, the 3 Ds, right? Death, divorce, and downsizing. Right. And so there's one.
I see that downsizing a lot.
Absolutely. It happens all the time. A lot of people downsize from those cat houses that are 2 stories
Lord.
to smaller ones, right?
Well, you know what? Lately, I've had a lot of people over the past 6 months, they have sold their homes to get into RVs or tiny homes.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people doing life backwards. In fact, what I mean by this is this. So I sold a house in Walker for a family, and she was 30 years old, and the husband was 31. They were working at a plant, making fantastic money, annual salaries, right? Both of them combined. And so they said, look, Darren, we want you to sell our house. And I'm like, sure. So tell me your story. Where are you going? They said, we're moving to Sevierville.
Where?
Sevierville, Tennessee, which is right outside of Gatlinburg, right? Okay. And I'm like, what are y'all going to do there? They said, most people work 30, 40 years, whatever it is, and then retire. Right. And they said, we're going to do it backwards. We're going to go ahead and retire now and just work. So they both drive school buses now in Sevierville, He works a part-time job at Smoky Mountain Knife Works over there because he's a knife collector. He loves that. And they're living life. They bought a small 3-bedroom house overlooking a little stream in the backyard. They got bears come up in their yard. It's just beautiful. I see their posts on Facebook all the time, and they're just loving life. They're living life today like a lot of people will wait 30, 40 years, work all that time period, and never know when they're going to take their last breath. And so they said, look, we're going to go ahead and retire and live the life we want to now. We'll still work, but we have the simple life. And I see a lot of people doing that. I had a couple that I just sold their house last year in Ascension Parish. And I said, where y'all moving to? They said, we're going to go to Airbnbs, and we're just going to go from Airbnb to Airbnb. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go rent time at this Airbnb, and then we'll go to the next one. We'll rent time there.
Yeah, I have somebody doing that too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I guess that's how you would
see the world.
Yeah, well, you can see the world that way.
Different places.
And you know, on these Airbnbs, you can rent just a room.
That's right.
You can get a room in someone's house for like $45, $40 a night. Yep. And it could be somewhere, you know, Orlando or Dallas, whatever.
Wherever it is.
It's crazy, and everybody's making money, but then people are seeing what they want to see to deter how they want to do, I guess.
And also they can say, hey, look, you know, I came there, I stayed there for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it was, and they're like, well, do I really like this place? No, let's go check out over here. Let's go check out, 30A and see if we like 30A better. Or let's go check out Dallas and see if we like Dallas better, or wherever they're going, you know.
Right.
It's a great way to just see the area and not be tied into a long-term commitment somewhere, and just really just enjoy life.
Yeah, that's what happened. You were talking about the house you just sold for them in Walker. You know, I had sold one in Livingston, just right past there, and now they're older, and it was time for he retired, and her retirement day was a couple of days ago, and I was. You always ask the story of the seller. Where are you going once this chapter? I always say, this is what I say. Look, once we close this chapter of your home and your life, where is chapter B at?
Yeah.
What's the deal? These two looked me straight in the face and said, we don't have one. And my heart just went like, boom.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do because, like we said earlier, you have to be in this business and you have to love it, and you have to care. You have to really, you're really wrapped in this. I'm really wrapped in my business. Oh, yeah. So I really felt bad. I'm like, man, these people are like late 60s. And, oh, shit, they ain't got nowhere to go, and they're not going to have no jobs. They retired. They don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And she said, you know what? We're going to move over here, which they did to Watson. We're going to live with our daughter. But I can promise you, if you can get this house sold and closed before Christmas, we're just going to get in our vehicle and we just gonna drive and find places to rent and see. But we want to be in Tennessee where the snow is. Well, her retirement was Friday, and this week they leaving because I closed on their house 2 weeks ago. Wow, it was crazy. So it gives you all these. Yeah. I don't know. I got chill bumps from it. I'm like, doubt. Man, okay, I did this. I did what they said. I got the house sold. I felt, bad. I didn't know what to do when somebody says we don't know where we're going.
Yeah. I had one I sold over in Walker again in the lakes at Fenwood.
What the hell's going on in Walker? That's what I'm going to ask. What the hell's going on with people in Walker?
I had one that I sold there, and that family, I actually grew up with their son. And so when I was a kid, and so they called me to sell their house, and they were buying land in South Carolina, and they were making a prayer retreat acreage, basically a place that people can go there, just get away and just sit back and just spend some time with the man upstairs. And so it's pretty interesting to see. And I think that's the most interesting part about this career for me is that everybody has a different story. Talking about stories earlier in the previous, everybody has a different story, and to see how we can fit in to help them live that story and live that dream. That's the ultimate. That's just unbelievable for me to be able to part of that. So.
Right, and that's what I tell other agents that, especially don't want to leave feedback on the house they opened up and showed.
Let's talk about that a little while.
Jesus. Because this is what if you show one of my houses right now today, I'm probably a bitch about that feedback. Because to me, this is a privilege that you have a license with the commissioner of this state to open up anyone's door and go behind those four walls and that roof.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's a privilege and an honor.
Yep.
And on top of that, you don't know what the hell you're going to see in behind there.
That's right.
But then it's your business to keep your mouth shut when you come out, too. Yep. But you got to give feedback. Yeah. Because the seller wants to know, what is it they didn't like about my home?
What's the hardest part of our job? To get feedback. Because a lot of times you got a showing schedule for 12 o'clock today. What a lot of sellers don't know is that the system that we use, Showing Time, right? That system sends feedback to that agent and an email to them 1 hour after that showing automatically. It's not something that agent has to press the button. It's not something that the agent can forget about doing. 1 hour after that showing is scheduled, that other agent who showed that property is getting an email.
Right.
Hey, what did you think about the property? What did you think about the interior, the exterior? What did you think about
the
price?
broken down.
It's all broken down, right? Yeah. It's really simple. And a lot of times before they even leave the house, the Showing Time app will notify them on the app. Hey, you're leaving the house. Well, you want to give feedback, right? So there's no reason why it shouldn't be filled out. But here's the caveat there. A lot of times people will wait, what I'm seeing, a week, 2 weeks, and here's why. And then the seller's calling you up. The showing happens at 12 o'clock, 12:01, that seller's calling my phone. Hey, you heard anything? Right. Well, hell no. If I heard something, I'd tell you, right? But I hadn't heard anything yet. So, the thing is that a lot of times a person's relocating into an area, like the couple that I just told you about that I sold them Walker and they moved to Sevierville, right?
Right.
If they're moving to Sevierville, they may not want to live in Sevierville. They may not know anything about Sevierville. They may have wanted to go to Gatlinburg or some other place over that area. So a lot of times when a person is looking at a house, they may be moving from an outside area and not know anything about where they want to live there. So if that buyer's agent gives you that feedback immediately and says, hey, my client's thinking about making an offer. Let's just say they say that. They loved your house, thinking about making an offer. Well, what does that do for you? That gets you all excited as a seller, gets you all excited as the agent. Oh, I'm getting an offer on this house. Woohoo, yeah, I'm happy. But what they didn't tell you is that, hey, I got 10 more showings at possibly one of these other houses.
Right.
They may like better than yours.
Right.
So that's why it's a very big challenge in our market, in our industry to do that. You remember on our previous episode when we were talking about the guy after the pandemic?
Yeah.
And he developed that app, where I could send a link to the seller or whatever and they could walk through the house. Yeah. We also did one. He did one for feedback. And I basically could go in there and type in the cell phone number of you, 225-955-5484. Well, imagine I did that, right?
He got the number down.
Look out, right? So you go in there and you put your number in there, and then 1 hour after the showing, it calls you on the phone. And it says, hi, Sondra. You showed our property at 1234 Smith Street. Press 1 if your client liked the property. Press 2 if they didn't like the property. And
so it does it for the lazy agent?
It does it, right? And so it follows up with them every hour.
Oh, my God.
Until they give feedback. And so it's a challenge.
But that's the way it should be.
I agree 100%.
That's the way it should be.
I agree.
Because sellers are asking questions right and left, especially after they show up. And I hate people that don't cancel. Literally click the cancel button, and then because sellers have to get their dogs, their snakes, or whatever pet they got, and they got to gather everything up and go out the door.
And if you got kids, you got homework you're trying to deal with a lot of times during school. There's just so much stuff that goes into it, right? That's a challenge for that seller to get out of that house. It's common courtesy that they're letting you go inside their own home.
Well, yeah, I always, and that's where I'm not picking just on all buyers agents, but it's just. What I do, because it says on our Showing Time app, are you done with showing?
That's right.
So I click yes, and that notifies the seller they can come home. But before we leave the driveway, I do it every time. Okay, I have to fill this out because we unlock that door, and legally I'm responsible. And also that seller wants to know what you think. Why? It's fresh in your mind. Let's answer these questions. Yeah. And I do it in the driveway before I get in my vehicle and drive off.
Have you seen the service called Showing Beacon?
No.
Oh, so let me tell you. So I don't know if it's still. I think it's still out there, but it's called Showing Beacon, and basically it's like a, on Family Feud, whenever they read a question, you buzz in, right? It's kind of like a little buzzer that goes on the island of the house, right?
Oh. And
you walk in there, and then when you finish showing the house, you press the buzzer. It turns red.
Oh, wow.
Showing that feedback there, and you can say, hey, this is Sondra Richard. I just want to give you some feedback on your property. My buyers loved it. The only thing questions that they have, they didn't like the size of the master bedroom or whatever. Just wanted to give you that feedback. And you click it, and when the sellers get home, it's glowing red. They press a button, and they can hear the feedback immediately before they ever leave the house.
And see, that's smart. Very smart. But then, people forget we have sellers that everybody has like these videos and
cameras,
the ringtone and the ring video and the ring. Oh, boy. And let me tell you something. sellers listen.
They listen. They listen and they watch.
They watch you and they listen on their phone. Because then I have had, I mean, not everybody's like this. They're not. But there's a few in the pot. And they have called me. They're like, that bitch don't know what she's talking about. I don't want her back in my house again. Sondra, can you, whoa. I don't even know what's going on because.
Right. You don't know.
As a busy agent, I'm servicing a lot of people at one time. And, and I have a team to help me from a lender to the title to my TC. But you're just catching me off guard by saying, I don't want that bitch back in my house. This is what she had to say. Okay, whoa, what happened? And then I have to go back and I have to look and then I have to go, okay. And it's really tough.
Yeah,
it's really tough. But people forget about the video surveillance. They forget all about that.
So what's your opinion of this, right? So home inspections, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to the home inspection. The agent opens up the door and goes back and sits in his or her car while the inspector goes through the house without them being present. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, a couple things. The home inspector usually needs to be licensed and bonded. Now, you don't have to, because inspection is, you don't have to do that in the state of Louisiana. It's optional, right? But, usually I'm with them. You got to sit in there because if you think I'm going to trust you, then you didn't take something. It's on my ass.
That's right. Yeah, I stay in there with them on every inspection that I've ever been in. I've stayed there. I'll do paperwork at the counter or whatever. Right. I'm not going to follow them around, obviously, and let them do their job and slow them down.
No, I don't want to slow them down because,
But I am going to sit in that house. I'm not leaving them unattended by any means there. No way.
Right.
Not on my
Especially on a pier and beam house. Let's talk about that because you got an inspector. I've had this happen a couple of times. You got an inspector. He's going to inspect the structural, the mechanical parts of the home. But then if it's pier and beam, he got to go under the home.
Yeah, that's right.
If your ass is sitting in the car, his ass can't get out from under the house. I've had that happen once.
Well, I could never do. That's one thing I can never do is be an inspector. I'm deathly afraid of snakes.
No, spiders.
There's no way. No way that can happen because I know I'm going to encounter Mr. Rattler down there or something. I'm done. Two things happen when I see a snake: a bowel movement and a physical movement. I guarantee you. Yeah, I'm shitting and getting, brother. I'm going. I'm out.
Shitting and getting. Listen to that. On dirt, grit, and stupid shit, he's shitting and gritting. There we go.
Yeah, I'm scared of snakes, man. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, but to me, what I tell buyers, and I don't represent a whole bunch of them. I'm more of a listing agent. But for my buyers, look, you can hire an inspector if you want. It's a general inspector, okay? Or really, you can have your dad come, check it out. Or you need to have maybe your AC guy come, your plumber come. Get specific because sometimes an overall inspector, he can't narrow things down. Like I've had a general inspector tell me there's 3 years left on that roof. How the hell you know that? You're not a roofer.
Right.
You didn't do a brittle test.
Right.
You just threw a red flag up,
Do you bring out like the AC person or roofer and all those people? You do all that?
Yeah. And now because here's what a lot of, maybe everybody's listening. If your roof is over 10 years old, you're going to have a problem with the insurance companies that are staying in the state of Louisiana. Now, my roof looked all pretty at 15 years old. My house is 15 years old. It looked great. And when Hurricane Ida came through, about 9 shingles came off. And then my company went bankrupt. Yeah, it happens to me. I might be an agent, but look, I'm a human too. I put my pants on the same way you do.
Absolutely.
We all do.
That's right.
And so I fought for a year and a half, and I won. It took forever. My agent showed me how to do it, and we got a new roof put on a couple months ago. And then you got to keep that receipt, and it helps your insurance come down once you turn in that receipt from the roof.
Yeah.
But just think, if you're going to sell that house, if the 10-year thumb rule is what they're going by right now, what are they going to change 15 years? What are they going to do from now?
Right.
So people just don't realize that. And so, and then your house will sell a whole lot quicker because you're basically worried about the structural and then the main mechanicals, plumbing, AC.
Yeah, I call those the 3 S's, right?
Yeah.
The structure, the systems, the safety.
There you go.
The 3 S's, right?
The triple S.
Triple S, right?
That's right. Well, listen, we have another sponsor of this podcast. It's Southern Rhythm Venue and Entertainment.
Yeah.
That's a nice big place.
That's Steve McDaniel's place out there,
Steve
right?
McDaniel's place. And he's down here on 16 past Casa Maria. And they take a lot of pride in their entertainment. I tell you that right now. And they bring in a lot of really, really good live bands. Wayne Toops was there. I mean, that was a packed house.
Yeah.
Chase Tyler's was there. He did a 90s country. That was so cool. I was there, but that was elbows to asshole. I'm here to tell you. But you can have a lot of people in this venue. And it's smoke-free.
Yeah.
I love it. It's super, super clean.
Bathrooms are awesome.
Yeah, they got amenities in there like you wouldn't believe. You have to smoke out back in an enclosed patio. And I know it's cold now, but he's got fireplaces.
There you go.
And you sit around the fireplace, keep your ass warm, okay? But on New Year's Eve, they're going to have 2 bands, 2 live bands. So you get 2 bands. That's really good for the price of 1. Yeah. And then you're going to have a balloon drop and much, much more.
Oh, wow. Sounds like a great venue to attend on New Year's.
That's what I would do. I'd take your ass on down there to Southern Rhythm venue and entertainment, okay?
All right.
So, getting back to feedback.
Yeah.
Showings. What really keeps you in this business altogether? What would be the number one thing you would tell people that would keep you in this business? Why do you stay in this business? That's what I want to know.
I'm in the business of growing people and helping them get to their next step in life. And that's where that's what drives me every single day. I'm very, very blessed that the Lord allows me to wake up every day and do what I love,
right,
and help so many people. And so it doesn't matter if it's a $50,000 home or a $50 million home,
right,
or someone's going through a divorce and trying to get from point A to point B in their life. For me to be able to be part of that, and that's what keeps me going every day, to be able to help so many people get to their next destination in their world. So, that's
why I definitely stay in this business. It's always. It's a pleasure, and it's humbling to help people get from A to B,
right.
And then they don't understand. It's called fiduciary trust on a listing agent side. And so whatever is told to a listing agent, let's just say I'm the listing agent. If they're saying, because this happened, they said, Sondra, I need to buy a house, and I don't want my husband to know. Okay. This is going to be a hard cat to skin. But you know what? Long story short, we did it.
Yeah.
And that was 2 years ago. 4 months ago, he found out.
Wow.
He didn't come after me though. You worry about all that, but
right.
But that's the name of the game, is to get people from A to B, make sure that everything's pleasant for them, and they're excited, they're happy, because I am not a transactional person. I do 65 to 75 homes a year by myself now. Yeah. And you know what? It's not about transactions. It's about the relationship.
That's right.
And that's what I want. And that's huge that I learned from you. Okay. Yeah. It's huge, because when you can go back and take a customer to a client, turn them into a raving fan, and put them as part of your family.
Yeah.
That's how you build your database.
That's the key.
That's the key to all of this.
Yeah, that's the key. I got 90,000 in my database now, and so there's a lot of people in there, and so it's very important that it's relationships over real estate.
That's right.
Every
that's
day.
right.
That's what it is. Back to the roof thing. I wanted to tell you something about that. How cool would it be to have something like Home Facts? You know how they got Carfax where you can go and check that? Yeah. How cool would it be to have something like Home Facts where it pulls up every receipt that the person has, every maintenance that they've done. Hey, I replaced the carpet in 2015. I painted these walls in this date, and here's my receipt, and all that kind of stuff. So
you could pay and pull that up.
That's right.
That would be great.
I'm trying to put that together. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because
also help with disclosure, right?
Well, right. Because in this business, they got this saying. Y'all ready?
Yep. I want to hear it.
Buyers are liars and sellers are worse. Yeah. See, buyers, sometimes they lie about, did they make application, got a pre-approval, or did they bogus up sometimes some of their, stuff on their report. I mean, it's human nature here. And these sellers, you'll ask them, what's that crack in that mortar, and why it's going through that brick, and why is that a different color? I don't know. I don't know what that is.
First time I saw it.
Yeah, first time. What happened there? Then the inspector comes along and goes, somebody put some mortar in between there. Because the house was selling from a slight foundation problem. Yeah. The seller didn't know a damn thing about that. Yeah, it's just some of the crazy stuff we go through.
It'd be great to have one place, one depository where if a AC repairman goes out to your house and he does service on it, he can log that stuff and automatically upload it through a smartphone the receipt to your account. How cool would that be?
It'd be awesome. Yeah. It'd be awesome. It'd be like buying a Mercedes with all the paperwork there. It makes it more valuable.
That's right. No doubt.
Makes it a lot more valuable.
Yep, no doubt.
And then it'll help the buyer because it's all transparent.
Yep.
Right?
It's right there. It's all
It's right there and it's truthful.
Yep.
Because the only way you do that now to find out when the roof was replaced is you got to do what? Call the insurance agent who's got to go through the case, CASE, right?
Yep.
They got to figure out, when was it ever filed? It's just crazy.
Yep, that's right.
Nuts.
That's right.
Well, Darren, I'd like to thank you for coming on another episode of Dirt, Grit, and Stupid Shit.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun being here. So keep on making it happen. And happy holidays to you, and Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, too.
Yeah. Thank you, Darren. All right.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
All righty. Bye, y'all.